Hi, everyone. I have a special treat for you today. We have Kelli Patton, and she is from the Patton Group of Keller Williams, and she is in Daytona, Florida. Who would not want to be in Florida by the beach? So, Kelli, take it away. Tell us about you. Tell us about where you serve. Let's start there.
Okay, I will. Thank you so much for having me. As I told you earlier today, I am super, super excited to do this with you and you in particular, because you're so awesome. Your genuineness just shines through. And I've seen some of your other videos and I'm like, yes, I'm so excited to do this with you. So thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes. So I am a native to the area. I grew up in Ormond Beach in Volusia County. Was born in New Smyrna Beach. And actually, Ormond and New Smyrna are actually two of the most popular cities in Volusia County. And so I was born in New Smyrna, grew up in Ormond, and so the Daytona Beach is right in between there.
So there you go. You covered that whole little circle, right?
Exactly. Okay, fantastic. And then I currently reside in Flagler County, which is just north, which I'll tell you a little bit more about that. They're very close together, but in Palm Coast, which is really just consists of Palm Coast, Flagler Beach, and Bunnell in Flagler County, much smaller county. Nice. So native to the area, our market center is actually in Port Orange. So just south of Daytona. Mm-hmm. And I've been in that market center. February was 22 years. And
21 years. I was 2004. I started with KW.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, it's a long time.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I started more in operations. So yes. I became licensed in 2003. And when I started working there, I was with a different company for almost 4 years, Prudential at the time. And I was in their operations administrator there. And so someone at the time was, learned about Keller Williams, came over and told me all about it. And I really was so intrigued and fell in love with the conversations around the culture pieces and just really everybody. It was an environment of, conducive to growing and learning. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to hear more. So I did. I came over and like I said, I got licensed in 2003 and I did both for a while. I was in sales and in operations or their MCA position for 15 years doing that. But then, we had to be effective and we were having fun growing and building. So I had my license and referral for a little bit and then focused on, growing the market center. Beginning of 2019, full-time in sales.
Back into sales. Okay.
Yeah. And my husband is also a licensed agent in our office, part of the Patton Group. So, and he's heavier on, absolutely is also holding appointments and things. He does a lot in operations in the back end.
What you used to do. So you're having the fun time now.
Yes. Yes, exactly. You can have a little more fun. Yeah. So in Palm Coast is the city where I reside. And so a lot of, we specialize in Flagler County as well. A lot of our people that we help end up being in Flagler County. Okay. So they're so closely connected. It's really kind of, it's referred to as Flagler Volusia area. You're 20 minutes north and you're getting into the beginning of Palm Coast. And then you've got Daytona Beach, Ormond, Flagler Beach. Okay. So, we have an office in Ormond as well, where I have a desk on beachside. And then, we actually have an office in St. Augustine, our same ownership group. So I can pop in and out of there as well. So I'm a little between.
You're like all over the place. There you go. Yeah. Fun. Sounds fun. Sounds fun. All right. So tell us about the average prices for condos or houses and kind of like what type of properties do you usually sell or what what do you work on?
So I strictly am residential. And single family homes. I do more. I do handle both condos and single family homes, vacant parcels, luxury homes. I actually in February is when I joined the Luxury Pro through Keller Williams, and already so impressed by it. It's been amazing. The
I love
people,
Luxury Pro. It's so great.
Just a elevated level of education, conversations. It's been wonderful. So the condo market is probably the one that's the most, maybe a challenge. I don't know if
Challenges.
opportunities there. There's a lot in Flagler County. There's probably maybe, I don't know, under 300 units that are on right now. But if you just go down into Volusia and Daytona, you've got probably closer to 12 to 1,300 on the market.
Wow.
So they've had some, for some of the recent storm activity. And actually, it's not just related to that. It's with what happened with the collapse of one of the condo buildings in South Florida. They had just some laws that were changed, tightening up, the maintenance of the buildings, reserves, and all that. So because we have so much of that on the coast there, and I'm sure a lot of people have heard that happening, that there's been larger assessments that have come to get things back to where they should be, either maintenance or in reserves. And that's created more of an inventory for that. But an incredible opportunity for purchasing condo units right now. We have many that are oceanfront. And so that in a lot of gorgeous buildings. So Flagler County condos, the difference there, we do not have nearly as many. And in Flagler Beach, here's a big difference with Daytona, is you cannot have any buildings that are over 3 levels.
Okay.
So as you go down through Daytona, you've got tons of condo buildings, hotels, high rises.
Right.
You cannot be more than 3 stories in Flagler. So
that gives it the charm that it is.
Yes, it is so if you want a little slower pace, more of a beach town community vibe, Flagler is just really great for that. You get to see the ocean as you're driving. In Daytona, you don't really see a lot of that as you're going up in A1A because you're seeing the commercial buildings. But as you enter into Flagler Beach, the majority of the time you're just looking at that ocean. It is a gorgeous drive.
So what are you gonna like for a condo? Give us kind of like a range, like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. How much square footage? What kind of?
Okay, you have everything from, you can get studio, 1 bedroom, 1 bath, 2-bedroom, 2-bath to the smaller end. You can have some that are in the 3s, maybe some in the 2s even for the studio size, on up to 1.5 million for your penthouse beach views or intracoastal. We have a lot of beautiful intracoastal condos as well.
Nice.
So that's your probably median range on those is somewhere between 4 and 5 to have some sort of view, direct view.
All right. So let's get in dig into single families because that's what everybody
single family. Yeah. So our median price point is similar between the 2 counties, and Palm Coast is a little bit higher price point right now. It's around $360 median price point. And depending where you are in Volusia, so Daytona, maybe $350-ish, $355. Okay. But as you get into New Smyrna, which is a kind of a niche, small local beach town that has like an art scene, a lot of culinary options. So it's a different vibe there. They're much higher price point down that way. So you're closer to probably $425 median price range. Okay. So, but Flagler County is still in growth mode. We've got a little, probably to 120,000 residents now. So not quite as big as Ormond and Daytona, but there's a lot of growth happening. There's a lot of new construction. But, one thing I like to point out about that, and this is what makes one of the reasons we love it, even though you've got a lot of construction happening and the big growth, there's a lot of nature that's still left there. There is we have over 100 miles of walking trails. They're all connected to each other within the city. They call them sections in Palm Coast, and it's something unique about. They're like, oh, what section are you in if you're a local? And it's like, oh, I'm in the W's, or I'm in the B's, and all the streets in that section start with that letter. There's no section that in Palm Coast that is more than a 20-minute drive to the beach. So it's still, even though there's growth, it's still quaint and you can be at the beach pretty quickly. But with the trails, there's over 12 different parks,
Mhm.
for biking. You can launch kayaks from a great place called Waterfront Park. They just added these kayak
Mhm.
launches,
Sure.
but lots of walking, lots of outdoor opportunities that are free for people. So if you love being outdoors and in nature, Palm Coast and Flagler County is a great option.
Sure. So let's talk on the investment side. So somebody comes to you and they want to invest. What are they going to be spending? Like, what are they going to spending? And is it hard to find places to have rent restrictions in some of the areas? Just want to touch that for
That is
our
a really
investors out there.
That is a great question. I'm glad you mentioned that. Actually, a lot of people are surprised, being that we're a beach coastal town with a lot of visitors all the time, that there are the restrictions that there are. There's very limited areas in both counties where you're allowed to short-term rent. So there's only like maybe, I don't know, 6 to 8 streets in Daytona Beach on the beach side
Okay.
and that are actually allowable. And then, and that is for, let's say, true short-term weekly condo buildings, obviously, and some areas that are governed by the county allow 30-day minimum.
Okay.
Same thing for Flagler. There is the area that's near the Flagler Pier. It's more where all the commercial pieces are and the restaurants.
Mhm.
They have some properties are grandfathered in there. In that particular area, you can do short-term rental. But other than that, Flagler Beach does not allow short-term.
Do they allow long term?
They do allow long-term. So 6 months and a day,
Okay.
you can rent there. So there are pockets that have those rare zonings. But so in the city of Palm Coast, though, currently they've made some current adjustments just in terms of the fees that you pay the city, and just tracking it. But other than that, there are not any restrictions prohibiting short-term rentals in Palm Coast.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah,
Everyone has mixed feelings on short term. Like, you
yeah,
have to look at your investment strategy. Are you
mhm,
short term? Like, we don't do any short term really here. We don't even really do a lot of midterm. It's more long term,
mhm,
a year or more here. So, I
right,
mean, that's our market, but you're in a beach market, so it's going to be totally different. But yet, you got to also look, do the numbers work, right? When you're investing, and that's, you have to look at vacancy rates and all that kind of stuff, because if you're doing short-term rental, you could have it rented for one weekend, not the next weekend, and then you're
yes,
breaking even or you're losing money, and you just kind of have to look at that. Yes, you can make a lot of money doing that, but also you can get shot in the butt too as well. So.
absolutely. I think I start by, what is the amount of time you're personally going to use it? Do you
Right.
plan on being here half the year, or you're going to come, enough times where, how much income you bring in for it, for the use of short term is not as an important factor. I start there, because if the answer is no, we need to rely pretty heavily on that, then there's certain, being on something with a water view and a pool. That's
Yeah.
going to be your
Right.
best bet. If either your condo that you're going to do 30-day cycles, which also can be very good here. We have a lot of people that come down repeatedly.
For like, yeah, they
So
come down for a month, like especially
ex-
during like February and January, and yeah, I
yes.
get that. So that's
Yeah.
that's a good part about it. Now, what about like HOA fees? Are they pretty reasonable? Are you finding them high? And then they're putting assessments on as well, so that's kind of tearing into people's profits, right?
Yeah, for the condo buildings,
Yes.
yes, those absolutely. That's a big thing. That's jumped from, gosh, maybe you're in a $500 or $600 monthly assessment range, have gone up to, in excess of 1,000. So you do have to look
Yeah.
at occupancy percentages, and does that building have the things that somebody would want? Would they seek
Right.
out your building and your unit over
Yeah.
all the others that are available? Because it's like anywhere else right now. I think it is slightly saturated in terms of short-term
Yeah.
units now.
What about investing in single family homes? Is that big by you?
Yes, for second, because people use them as second homes, and they for the long-term gain, and a lot of people hold it potentially they're thinking they'll retire here and
Yeah.
that's their plan. And then sometimes that changes. And the biggest thing we see change sometimes is even if they do come here for a while or they utilize it as a second home, depending on where their grandkids end up, then they,
Always.
right.
It always goes
So,
into that grandkids, right? Those empty nesters,
yes,
all about the grandkids. Wherever the grandkids are, we're going. So,
absolutely. Yep.
or
And so
somewhere the grandkids can have that they want to come to,
that's
right?
true.
That's the thing. If you're at the
Very
beach, the grandkids are going to come. If you're in the suburban USA, not so much, right?
Right. That's a very good point. Yeah, it is. When I would say if you aren't planning on personally using the property and you have long-term gains in mind, single family, with some particular things in mind to look for. If let's say they're close to some of the colleges we have here, like we have the Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona. A lot of college students look to rent there for a 3-year period, 4-year period. So we look for things like that that would be close to things that, or near hospitals or the traveling nurses, things like that would make the single family home for long term a good choice. But I think right now you can get some incredible buys on single family to long term rent, and we're actually seeing more of our short term
Go away.
investor go towards holding on to them for long term.
Okay, so like a long-term rental, like if somebody wanted to invest on a single family home in a nice area that they're going to get, they're going to make some money on long-term rental, like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, what would that kind of cost?
So your 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,600 square foot home, you're probably looking around $350.
Okay.
And 2-car garage, which could allow you to have to store toys and things like that in there. A lot of them are going to be 1/4 acre lots. That's a lot of what we have in our area. We don't have a lot of large, parcels until you kind of go into the west side a little bit or middle of Florida. But so you're looking at 350. The biggest thing there is you're probably going to have just a slight cash flow based on insurance and that has risen lately. So that's a big consideration.
Yeah.
That we're seeing that and the property taxes, of course, where people are being a little bit more decisive on the single family purchases for investment purposes.
Yeah. And that's why you need someone like yourself. And this is what I see from your background is your operationals, right? You know all the numbers, you crunch all the numbers. So you're going to sit with someone just like myself and say, hey, I need to know, what is your strategy in investments? Is it buying a new construction and holding it for 10 years? Is it, and just looking to get a little bit cash flow and really looking for the appreciation of that property, or are you looking for something else? So
exactly, your person.
I think people don't realize. They all want to be investors, but they don't realize what is your strategy. So I think that it's important to talk to someone. What is your strategy? Because people will just start buying stuff and they're not realizing that they're not making any money because of their strategy, and they need to go into a different strategy. So
100%.
I love that. Okay,
you hit the nail on the head with that.
All right. So investing or single family homes, everything, you just call Kelli. She's awesome. Yeah. So we kind of talked about the most desirable neighborhoods in the city. You kind of touched all the different cities. What's the biggest draw to people coming to your area?
I think that it's that coastal beach town living vibe, because even if you're not living on the peninsula, if you're not, you're on the mainland and not over the bridge, we say, you're so close to accessing the beach. You are, and it has that kind of slower pace. If you consider us outside of, we're an hour to an hour, 15 minutes outside of Jacksonville, which gets, obviously a lot bigger footprint. You've got an international airport there. Then you're an hour and a half outside of Orlando airport. So where we're located, if you want to be close to that, if you're going to, let's say, travel once a month for work or family, you want to be close to, hey, we want to hop over to Disney World, for the day, or we, head up to St. Augustine. It's one of the reasons I love Flagler County is you're right in between St. Augustine and Daytona. So you have a little smaller, slower vibe.
Mhm.
Everything beachside is like, local owned, local eatery. There's not chain things available on the beach there. But you are so close to accessing if you want more action, if you want to get into like, hey, we're going to go down to the races and go see some NASCAR. I mean, you're 30-minute drive south,
Right. So yeah,
you
it's
know,
really a great location. So I would see that that's why people are drawn to that. Plus, people are drawn to Florida because there's no
no
tax,
state income tax.
no
Yes.
state income tax. So people are
Yeah.
drawn to that. But all right, let's talk about some of the challenges of people moving to your area.
I think the challenges would be if you don't enjoy the tourism aspect, because there are going to be several times a year, especially in Daytona and Volusia, if you shy away from that because you've got race week in
Yes.
February, then you've got the bigger race in the summer. You've got 2 different times a year. You have the bike week and Biketoberfest, where everybody's coming to town on their motorcycles. You've got lots of spring break stuff that's happening in Daytona. And even though just north in Flagler, we get the overflow from that coming up, obviously, because they get that gorgeous drive going up the coast and then they head into St. Augustine. So there's several times a year that you're going to have a little more people in town, but the tourism is a big part of the economic draw in Daytona. So those events bring a lot of, income into the local business owners that kind of last them
Throughout the
throughout.
year. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And that just segues us into the next question I have,
Okay.
which is about the industries, like what industries are driving the economy, and any like major corporations have the headquarters in your area.
So that I think piggybacks to the question we were just on. Is there are not as many of those things in our area.
Right.
So a
Which is
lot.
good. It's
Yeah.
all tourism, right? I mean, that's where you're
Yes.
getting your money from.
And that,
Tourism.
for some people, it's funny. It's a plus, and that's what they want. And for some, it would be a little harder if you're looking for employment in those bigger industry thing. A lot of people commute to Orlando or some of those cities just outside of there, or into Jacksonville. So, we have a lot of people who've come here that are remote workers, because,
Yes.
they don't have to access the
And so
corporate
they have
office.
to go back to their office for 5 days a week, and then they have to
Right.
move back to wherever they're from, right?
True. That's a good point.
Because a lot of companies I mean, I know Home Depot here, they used to be like, they were like, 5 days at home. Now they're 3 days at home. Now they're 4 days in the office. So like, if you work for Home Depot, you're having to, be back into your Atlanta office 5 days a week now. So, I mean, a lot of the companies have brought that back. We were kind of spoiled for about 5 years, 4 or 5 years on that. So
That's a good point. We've actually had a couple, probably 2, like personally, with our past customers, that we've had that come up where they've had to, relocate back. But I would say that's the biggest challenge, is if you like the quiet coastal vibe and the small town, and I call it small. It's small compared to if you're looking outside at these bigger metro cities around
yes,
us.
of course.
You've got plenty of traffic and all of those things. Though I will say, most of the time, I guess perspective is a thing. So I've worked with a couple people from Atlanta.
Oh gosh.
I know that this traffic is picked up because we're really growing, and they're like, we're from Atlanta. We're like, this is not traffic. We're like, it would take us 45 minutes to get from here to there. And then I said, okay, perspective.
Yeah, and which comes into our question about traffic. Is there a lot of traffic? Of course, during spring break, you're going to have a lot more traffic, and maybe during this, because tourism, whenever you have the holidays, whether it's Easter or Christmas or Passover or Hanukkah, whatever, you're going to have people around, so the traffic might be a little worse, right?
I would say those times it's definitely more congested, and the locals will probably take other routes or stay in a little more because they plan for it. They're used to it. Generally speaking, I'd say if you've been here for 20 years, or more, then you're probably going, man, this traffic is really getting out of control. Yeah. But it's in particular, it's just in our main 30, or I should say, like our main roads taking you from the beach out to the highway. Those have become, if you've been here for a while, those are quite congested now because there's just a lot of development happening out there. We have Margaritaville in Daytona. So,
Yes.
and out at that area off of LPGA, a lot of new subdivisions all right there. So it's great. They're adding, more retail, there's going to be a lot of things for people to enjoy, but it is an adjustment in terms of that congestion there right off
Yes.
yeah.
Growing. Yeah.
So I would say that that's the biggest thing is if you need to look for a lot of diverse employment opportunities local, there's not going to be as much of that in Flagler and Volusia. So you're going to have to likely commute if you're not remote or construction. That is a big driver here. Construction, hospitality.
Yeah, of course, all the restaurants and the great restaurants on the beach and
hotels, all the stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so what are some of the most popular activities in your area? What do people do? I mean, we touched a little bit on this.
We did touch a little bit. So we talked about the racetrack. That's fun. And even if you're not into it, you can go do the tour of the track out there and drive. And it's a lot of fun. The beach, of course, that's number one. Boating. We have a lot of, things that are on the river. You could take boat cruises to go out and the river and kind of take you up down the Intracoastal. So a lot of outdoor kayaking, biking, walking trails. And then in terms of outside of nature and outdoor stuff, we kind of go outside of our area for more of the art, cultural. Yeah. We have a small downtown area in Daytona, there's a lot of great stuff there. There's some art, really unique dining, opportunities there, small chocolatier, so you've got that vibe there over on Beach Street. And then if you want to go on to New Smyrna, they have a great art scene down there. They've won awards for their art scene down there, New Smyrna. And the culinary options are all local chef. So that's, if you want to go a little south from Volusia County, it's gotten really popular. It's very charming.
So that's what the culture is. What about a lot of people play golf and tennis or pickleball? Is that coming about? What's going on there?
Yes. How could I forget golf? That is and my husband, that's if he's not with me and he's not fishing, he's golfing. So
he's not fishing, he's golfing. There you go.
Exactly. Yeah. Golf is what we have. A lot of our popular HOA communities or gated communities are golf based. So we have, one in particular was actually there this morning in Plantation Bay is a huge development in our area that actually it's kind of unique because part of it's in Volusia County, part of it's in Flagler, but it's all Ormond Beach address. They have phenomenal golf there. Grand Haven in Palm Coast, that's a popular golfing community. People love living there. So yeah, golf is a big one. And we have that is down in Ormond and Daytona as well. So pickleball is kind of picking up. I don't know as many pickleball in Flagler. We've got some new stuff in Daytona and tennis as well. Yes, that's very popular. Those is one of the most desired activities in our HOA communities.
Nice. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, I play tennis.
You're a tennis pro, aren't you?
Golf. Yeah, I play it all.
Yeah.
So when you come, golf, I like to play more in best ball, charity, just for fun and stuff because it takes such a long time. Where tennis and pickleball you can do pretty quickly. Plus I'm a runner and I also work out, with a trainer. So I'm lifting weights and doing things like that. So I like to do all of everything. You name it. I like to do it out there when it comes to exercise. So
you would love a nice jog on the beach here. We see a lot of that.
I know.
I'm a great golf cart driver. So although I won't play with you, if you come to golf, I'll drive you on the course and take video. That's my
really pretty video. There you go. That sounds good. All right. So we talked about the vibe. We know kind of the beach vibe and climate. Let's talk about the climate because I think some people think Florida, they think it's always hot. It's the hottest Hades and, so tell us about the climate there and different things.
Great question. It is hot in the summer. I will give you that. But
Hot here in Atlanta too.
yeah, that being said, I was going to say, when I would visit my folks when they were living in Virginia for a bit, um, I was like, gosh, it's hotter here. You don't have the breeze off the ocean. That's one thing. Yes, you have the humidity, but those ocean breezes help so much to kind of,
Yes.
quell that heat. Your summertime and you're starting to get into May, June, all the way through September is your hottest times. But if you can take advantage of those ocean breezes, it really helps a lot. Our winters, though, I mean, most of the time, predominantly, it's beach time. Like that is one of the draws too. Yes, you get into December, January, sometimes a little in February. It's a little chilly and you maybe are not sunbathing out there always. But our snaps of cold are so short-lived. So most of the time of the year, you could be outdoor and enjoying the sun.
And what's the best thing to go walk on the beach with? Yoga pants and a hoodie, right?
It's one of my favorite ways to start the day is we'll go for an hour walk on the beach, time it so we can watch the sunrise. And then we go walk up there's a restaurant right at the Flagler Beach Pier called the Funky Pelican. And you can kind of walk up the steps and sit outside and you're right on the beach. Kind of like it feels like a cruise ship. You're right out there. You walk up, have breakfast.
Well, I just envisioned doing that. And I was like, that's cool. And I envisioned you driving a little golf cart around and doing those
Yes.
type of things. So that sounds like fun. Oh my goodness. So what do you like to do? I mean, I'm sure you touched a little bit about this. What do you like to do in your spare time when you're not doing real estate?
Travel. I love traveling. We like my husband particularly. So, and by extension, I do enjoy them too, is he likes cruising. So we do that a fair amount. But I love to travel. I love reading. If I can get in front of a pool, or I know this is a big gap or a diverse, or a mountain place. Ideally, if I could go pick a place that's got a view with the mountains and sit with a book for 7 days, I love that. You don't get to do it often, right? But it's
Right.
peaceful to me. So
Well, I love that you get up in the morning and you go walk on the beach. I mean, that's like before real estate starts and I could just envision walking on the beach, even if it's cold, with a sweatshirt, and you walk and you do your exercise, and then you go up and you look at the sunrise, and then you have like a little breakfast, and then you're off to your day.
Yes. Yeah. And we like to take advantage of the nature stuff too. We get a great tandem kayak and kind of go through they have areas that are not far from the Intracoastal, our saltwater canals over in Palm Coast, where you can go in the marsh and you see all kinds of wildlife. And so we'd like to enjoy some of those things. Usually if we're somewhere swimming in the sun, boating, that's another activity for our areas. There's plenty places to launch your boat and enjoy the waterways. We like doing that as well a lot.
So great. Yeah. I'm feeling like I want to move there. I hope all my other viewers are like, sure, let's move there. That sounds great. So I like to talk about travel, because like travel comes up with everybody. Mm-hmm. So tell us about a place that you've been to that you really, really like, and then tell us somewhere that's on your bucket list that you want to go see.
Well, I kind of already mentioned, it's not, it's domestic travel. I've already mentioned it, but I absolutely love being in the mountains, anywhere with the mountains. So
I'm an hour from the mountains. You can come visit me. You can go up to Blue Ridge. Yeah. Blue Ridge is an hour.
I will absolutely. We talked about that last year, actually, Blue Ridge. We're like, we've never visited there. I didn't realize it was an hour from you.
Yes.
So actually, Sevierville area, honestly, that is my peaceful place. When we go there and we make sure we have a stellar view, and we just spend all of our time out there, coffee, talking, like just in that element is one of my favorite places to be. It just brings a calmness. So, I mean, we loved Maui. That was wonderful as well.
Great.
If I can get my husband on a plane for 12 hours again, I don't know, but the plane ride there was for him. doesn't
So
like
what
any.
about, you said you do a lot of cruising. Where have some of your favorite places you've been cruising?
Mostly the Caribbean.
Okay.
So yeah,
Well, it's so
mostly.
easy from where you're at, right?
Yeah, we can go to Canaveral, Port Canaveral, hour and a half. And that's really easy to get in and out, or Fort Lauderdale or Miami. So you're more between a 3 and 4 hour trip to
Yeah.
those.
Mhm.
But a bucket list trip, I want to go to Scotland and Ireland. I where my mother's father is from, and they took a lot of trips there. And I just always, I fell in love with the stories and everything that I saw and heard. And so we've obviously explored that too. And I am a sucker for the rolling hills. So we really want to go to Scotland and
Well,
Ireland.
I will tell you that in July, I am going to Ireland.
Are you?
We're going for
Oh
I
my
think it's about 18 days, and we are doing a cruise around the whole entire island, and all of Ireland. And then every port, like we're at a port every single day, and then we have a personal driver that's taking us to different places all over around Ireland. So I am super excited because that has been on my bucket list for a very long time. Now we've been to different parts of Scotland, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I am very excited to go to Ireland, and it's been on my list, and it's finally hitting this year. So I'm excited. So
That's so awesome.
you
I'm so
put
happy.
it on, got to put it on your list. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And just book it, because I was like, life's too short. Just go travel. That's me. Everybody knows me. I love to travel, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited about Ireland, and I can only imagine how excited you would be if you go to Ireland.
Yes.
So,
well, now I have a direct. You can give me some tips. You can tell
oh
me.
Yes, I've researched it till I'm blue in the face, and I'm not a big researcher. My husband more is, and I was just like, he's like, this is your trip. You figure it out. And I was like, okay. We're doing, and I always like to use tours by local, like when we do like different, like we go all over the world, and I like to use a tour by local, and they really just take you and do things that not the tourists do. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
So
does.
we like to do a lot of adventure things. So we're doing a lot of hiking and a lot of driving and a lot of, because Ireland, you really kind of have to drive around, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you're at a port of an area, and then you're just driving around all the cliffs and all the beautiful places and this and stuff. And then we're spending like 4 days in Dublin, so we'll be able to hit Dublin and hit all that stuff. So that's kind of nice.
You're gonna have like the dream trip. That is amazing.
But exhausting. Like I tell people, we don't travel for relaxation; we travel for adventure. So we just do adventure, adventure stuff. So all right, so I'm going to keep you accountable to doing that Ireland, Scotland trip there. So
that's great.
All right. So I have like one more question for you. And I know that we all love what we do. And I wanted to ask you of one of your most rewarding real estate transactions and why. And it could be, I know that everyone has a lot, but just give me one example, because I want our viewers to know how you run your real estate business.
One of the best experiences was actually probably about a year ago. So it was fairly recent. This was a woman that she had, it was her and her adult son. They had been in a situation that was not good, prior to they had gone through divorce. With her and her husband, and they were just very misdirected and guided on what was possible on the selling of their home. She didn't have a lot of help. She was confused on what was the best decision. She had gotten connected with some advice that was not good. I think it may have been it was someone that was not an agent. Right. And basically they were going to just purchase the home and take all their equity is what was going to happen, and then turn around. But she didn't have the help she needed. She just needed some guidance. And she thought she would never be able to own a home again. She was just feeling very lost, and she thought, okay, well, I'm going to be renting forever.
Right.
She was she had no hope. We were able to get in there, and she just needed someone to tell her the truth of what could happen, what was possible. And we were able to go in there and help. It was a little bit of a project of just things on the front end and painting and taking care of some things on the interior. But she was able to not only not walk away with $0, which is what was going to happen. She ended up making $50,000 more than she had thought.
Wow.
And we connected her to a phenomenal, local lender here, and she was able to buy a home with her son.
I
So
love
they
that.
are just, they are the gratitude that they have for being able to have a professional to line out the options and give them the potential of what can happen versus, someone who, that's what we're doing, is looking for ways to help people make people's lives better through their choices. And
Right.
real estate is such a huge deal. It's so much more than, oh, we love this home, and we can see ourselves living there. Everybody's circumstances in terms of building their wealth and now their opportunity in the future, from here on out, and building
Yes.
their wealth through that asset, which they thought they would never be able to do. So it was one that was a lot of emotion.
Yes,
Um,
I can feel how passionate you are and how emotional, because you helped somebody who was really had no hope. They
yes,
were just like, I'm going to rent for the rest of my life. I've gone through this terrible divorce. I've gone through a situation. I'm starting a new chapter of my life. And you came in and you were able to give them hope and gratitude. And they have so much gratitude for you. I'm sure you're their best friend in the whole entire world. And just that they can build wealth, and just your passion and your compassion and just your heart. You have such a big heart to be able to help these people. And I just see it in that. And that's why I'm doing these interviews, to show people, like, this is how we do business. This is not just a burn and turn company. The people that I'm relating you to are people that care about people and going to help people and go over and beyond to help them through their transaction.
no, you hit the nail on the head with that as well. It is so much more than that. And I was good. I'm like, I'm trying not to get emotional with this one, but
It's okay to get emotional because you help somebody and you're helping. And I mean, that's a big thing. And so many people that are buying and selling real estate go through divorce. Divorce is a big reason why they have to sell their house, right?
yes.
And we are the type of people that can help them through that process without being someone taking advantage of them.
Well, and that's it. It's not, a lot of times there's happy moments with buying and selling, but it's not always happy moments.
No, it's not
There's
always happy.
there's reasons that are sad or, not easy and difficult, and they come across misinformation or people that are not looking out for their best interest. And
Right.
as in this case, obviously I'm leaving out some of the deeper details on it that created the roadblocks and things, but the fact that by having, it's more than being an expert. That's very important, right? In
Right.
your area, so that you can help them,
Mhm.
guide them to a good decision. Because you can also, she could have made a bad purchase too that wasn't good for her and her son for her future needs, right? But you also have to, it's these kinds of choices, because it's the biggest asset for the majority of us, is life changing if you make it
It's
good or
very
bad.
life changing. Like, you don't understand. Like, sometimes we live in this bubble being in real estate, but there's so many people, like, this is, at home or whatever they own in the home that's the biggest investment in their lives. If they lose that, they have nothing and they have to start
Yeah,
from scratch. So
yeah,
we're able to help them guide it. And I think you also being creative and having those great partners, like that lender partner that was able to help her purchase a house in her situation, which is really hard after a divorce. And we all know that after a divorce, sometimes it's most people will have to rent for a while to get themselves back on their feet. And she was able to do that. And that all goes to you and your preferred partners that helped her buy this house. So,
yeah. So
so
that's it. That was one of them. It was
I
one of
love
the.
it. I love that story. I think it's a great story. Now, I do have one more question.
Okay.
Just
Okay.
one more question.
Okay.
Is there anything else you want to tell our viewers that we haven't discussed? Anything that we haven't discussed? Because I feel like we covered a lot.
Okay. I just say, I think I love so much what I do. I love, this industry has a lot of moving parts, obviously. To me, the biggest part are the people, whether it's relationships with
Mhm.
our, other professionals that we get to meet, that these are not just connections, they're relationships that help, we're talking about changing lives. I have a connection to somebody that can change the life of somebody else in your area, and being able to have those, that opportunity to do that. So, but being that the way I started into the real estate industry, it wasn't a decision to get right into sales, obviously, because I started in operations. I would say, my vantage point for all those years, and seeing the conversations that happened with realtors, and seeing everything that they went through to their solution oriented, right? You're fixing problems.
Problem
for
shooters,
people.
right?
Yes.
Psychiatrists too. I think we're psychiatrists,
So,
right?
so many roles and jobs. But I was intrigued by the fact it all came back to, it was just being solution oriented and finding ways to help people reach their goals. And so I got to see that at a deep level. And that's what intrigued me too. I said, that's so fulfilling to be able to do these things for people, because we need an expert in a lot of other things that we're not an expert in. We go to those people, our physician, or, what have you.
Yeah.
And so the opportunity to just put people's interests first, even if that at the end of the day sometimes does not end up in resulting in transactional thing, but you've made a difference for people. And that's the part that I love about this business, because it's all the people. You meet so many wonderful humans, buyers and sellers, but they're people. They're not just buyers and sellers. They have a story.
Right. It's not a business. Everyone has a story. The people need to know that. Everybody has a story. And the way people react to things, there's a story behind the way they're reacting.
Yes.
So instead of getting upset, you need to step back a little bit, which I think is hard for a lot of people. And I think you have to be a listener in this business. You have to listen to what people say. You can't just go blah, 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 blah. You have to listen, step back and listen, and see if you can problem shoot them. And not everybody are going to be our client, right? Not everybody we're going to click with. Not everybody understands the way we work. So it's okay to, for that. But the people that you do help, you put an impact on their lives. Right. And in the industry that we're in, people don't run it like a business and they run it like a hobby. And that's the problem that we, as professionals, we encounter a lot of people that are unprofessional in the business. And we want to surround ourselves around people that do the business like we do and really care about people. So 100%. I think we know. So going back to your background, man, you've been in real estate forever.
Since I was 7.
But I think learning the the operation side first, and then getting into, and now seeing that your passion now is, since 2019, is really the people. And just doing what you love every day and living in paradise. I feel like you live in paradise. It's like, I want to move there. So I think that if anyone's looking in anywhere around that Daytona area, in that big circle,
yes,
absolutely, reach out to Kelli. And if she can't handle it, she'll find you an amazing agent just like herself to handle that area. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for being on our podcast. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I loved it.
And you have a great day.
You as well.